Good Sunday morning, everyone. Oh, trying to get situated in my chair. I just got done mowing. We're gonna be here for a minute today. And we're gonna go over Seth Rogers last night. I'm pretty sure he's already replaced Tony with Betty. Some of it I'm gonna skip through because I don't care about Betty's fucking rants and bullshit. But get your snacks, get your drinks. While I get the rest of this set up. Let's see here. I'm hot. Mowing. Ugh, I wanted to mow before freaking that's wildfire smoke comes back again today. Okay. Okay, my water. I even got my breakfast. And Pugsley is right here with me. So let's get this going. Actually, you know what? I probably should put some music on. Where's my phone? I want to make sure I have something playing. You know what? Screw it. I'll just turn it down a little bit. Okay. Oh, it's hot. I told my husband last night, I was like, I shouldn't even watch this right now. I was like, I got halfway through it and I was like, I can't do this anymore. A little over an hour, and this is like 2 hours and like 20 minutes long. So I'm gonna try to go without stopping, and I'm just gonna do a lot of commentary over Seth. Because nobody wants to be here all fucking day for his bullshit. Let's get that gone. Alright, let's get into it.
Hello, wonderful people.
That's loud.
I hope everybody's doing well this evening.
Oh, this is full of milk.
Wow, chat is definitely moving faster than I can see what's going on. I will say hi to everybody.
Today, Junior, let's go.
Now I've got a few people that's going to come up on panel because people want to ask questions. This is pretty much going to be a Q&A about the filing. Anything that is stated.
Spoiler alert, it's not a Q&A.
In the filing, I can speak about. If it's not in the filing and it's coordinated with DCS, then obviously I can't speak about it.
Is it normal for my two cats to be complete opposites?
Really?
They're so different, so it's not easy taking care of them. But Chewy's got everything covered.
We already know you're monetized.
I do, again, appreciate everybody that's here. Our first guest on panel will be none other but
the loudmouth,
the Bullhorn Betty.
Hello, my guys. Hello, my loves. Hello. I hope everybody is doing well this evening. I just wanted to make sure the moderation was slowed down. The chat was slowed. And
so. Sometimes you can't slow it down enough for me to even read it.
Yeah, but we got plenty of moderators, by the way. Thank you, moderators, for being in the chat. We appreciate you.
I would like to say thank you to the moderators, and just let's stay on topic. If somebody comes in and they're not staying on topic,
gaslighting, being rude, say what you mean, but you don't have to be disrespectful. Don't be a Richard.
Even if they say what they mean.
Don't be carrying a bag of Richards with you.
Okay, that's another thing too. He literally just made a penis joke with his son's face right here. Yeah, you're a piece of shit.
Don't smile, Betty.
It just took me off guard. That's all. Back on track.
Yeah, it is definitely. It has taken a lot to get to this point. And, you know, I shouldn't have to file a lawsuit just to get people to do their job.
They
And
are doing their job.
It's horrible.
How's life?
I don't want other parents to go through this. You know, I've reached out to a lot of politicians, a lot of people who make the laws here in Tennessee, and for some odd reason, they just want to ignore the fact that there's a child missing.
They are not ignoring the fact that
And
there's a child missing.
we need to take
In 1 month in the state of Tennessee, between 500 to 600 kids go missing every month. Every month. I did it for my state. It's over 1,000 go missing every month, with 98% of them safely returned. Wait, it's throwing a fit. But yeah, Seth needs to get his head out of his ass because he has done ruined this investigation.
take care of our children. Society is supposed to be taking care of their children, because their children are the next people that hold office, hold positions within the community, and help build and keep the community alive. And what is going on is just not, it's not accepted. It shouldn't be tolerated, and it seems like it is tolerated. And it seems that people get tired of saying the same thing. And, you know, when you complain to your teacher, then you complain to your teacher's boss, then you complain to the principal, then you complain to the school board.
The teacher's boss is the principal, Seth, just so you know.
And there's just you have to follow protocol and procedure. And when protocol and procedures are not followed, the floor is not going to be stable.
And that's pretty much what all this is about, is policies and procedures not being followed. Lots of them all over the place.
It's pretty, it shouldn't be this way.
It doesn't have
I've got somebody else I'm bringing up on stage now. Hey, look, it's Smiley.
Hello, everybody.
Well, hello, Miss Smiley.
Hello, Miss Betty. Hello, Mr. Seth. Hello, chat.
Betty, your hair looks green.
Hello, hello. Yeah, this is all about Sebastian, y'all.
Then tell
This
the dad
needs to
stop
be
making
focused on Sebastian. And if you don't like it, you can kick some rocks.
Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I think what we've all witnessed here was a hot mess express. It looked like a lot of people came together for the...
It is a hot mess express, Betty, because you got involved. You have 4 protective orders on you, and now you're turning around and suing those 4 people. Girl, get the fuck out of here.
right reason at the beginning of this case. But even with all of the lack of answers, and when this case should have pivoted, when things got real and it was time for things to be done, those things were not getting done. And everybody knows the first 48 hours.
Getting done.
Yeah.
There were 7 agencies involved in trying to find Sebastian. Sebastian's search, like the search party they did, was the largest in Tennessee state history. Over $200,000 was spent on trying to find him. And Seth is saying, and Betty is saying, I'm not sure about Smiley. I don't watch Smiley. So take her out of that equation. But, so they're saying nothing was done. Okay.
Yeah, that too. They're still not getting done.
Ladies and gentlemen in chat, we're not, I mean, I appreciate the support from everybody, but if we can leave particular people out of the conversation, that'd be great, because this should be about Sebastian. 100%, in the fact that, you know, entities that are here that are supposed to be helping us with our children aren't. You know, everybody is allowed to have their opinion. And I
watch out when Seth was talking about leaving particular people out. Remember that, because he does bring them up later. You should follow your own words, Seth.
percent understand that. But this is about, you know, this is about Sebastian. He's the only thing that matters. He's the only one that's missing.
Then stop playing the victim card, Seth. Not about you.
Everybody should be worried about Sebastian. No team, nobody, just Sebastian. That's it.
I never liked the idea.
Except Sebastian's army.
And then
Sebastian's army.
Smiley just said no team, nobody. Sebastian. And then Betty, just Sebastian's army. Which would be these people, the green team. Make that make sense.
Army is who we are.
It's about Sebastian's army.
Yeah.
And finding him.
I agree. I agree.
So, Betty, would you like to start with some questions? I know that you...
Well, no, not necessarily some questions. I think that it's important for everybody to understand, because there's so much confusion. I think because of the, you know, when it comes to social media, I think when it comes down to the punitive damages or the damages, people are a little concerned about it. But at the end of the day, you're trying to affect change, and you've got an attorney that is assessing this case and is kind of telling you and advising you and you're following what your attorney is.
So, Betty, answer this. Who got Seth to file this lawsuit? I know you've put a bug up his ass before. And I know what he wants out of this. And it's not, the judge is going to dismiss it. I can already tell you that.
Is suggesting and saying. And so I just want people to understand what brought you to this point where you have to, when you should not be having to file a complaint. Ooh, somebody's echoing. I think it's you, Jen. There you are. Hi, Jen.
Hey, hey, y'all.
Hey, Jen.
I don't know
Hey,
who
honeys. Good to see you guys. Good to see you
You
guys.
got to turn your volume
Yeah,
down.
you got to turn your volume down just a little bit.
Is my
Oh,
volume's
it's way
up?
I can hear you through my open door
How do
2
I do
hours
that?
away. It's like Betty, you know. I can just leave it on mute and open my door and hear from...
Is that better?
I turned my volume like way, way, way down.
Oh, that reminds me. Look at Betty's shirt. Stupid people are like, and I can't read the rest. I don't know if she shows it, but she purposely showed that. If you watched Queen Bee's live yesterday, a lot of stuff that Betty and Seth say, Queen has pointed out and they're saying about it, and I thought it was hilarious.
Like I should sound like a mouse right now.
Is that better?
No.
Yeah, that's
I mean, yeah, it's great. Appreciate it, Jen.
Is it better, Seth? Is it better, guys? Am I too loud?
No.
Jen is louder than Betty. I don't know why. Let me see.
Wow.
Now that is not even cool. Okay.
Yeah, let's
Looks like some drop.
Biggest
I have
mouth in the
I have a
world.
reputation to uphold.
That's annoying.
Watch the FIFA World Cup 2026 live on Fox with YouTube TV.
Oh, she's back.
Okay. My gosh.
Okay, you sound better. I mean,
yeah, that
still-
sounds better.
yeah.
Does that sound better? Okay.
You're not screeching in my ear because I got earbuds in. It's
Okay, I've got my-
I think you wear
Okay.
both of them.
Well, hello, guys.
Hi.
Is your camera? Oh, there's your camera.
Yeah.
There you are. Hello, Miss Jen. How are you?
Oh, you know, just living the dream, running back and forth to Nashville. I'm so glad that we are I'm glad that we're at this point. You know, we haven't found Sebastian. This is good stuff. It has to be.
How is somebody explain this to me? How is suing the sheriff's department of Sumner County and CPS, DCF, wherever you're at in the world, everybody says it different. Here it's CPS. How is it suing both of those government agencies the right thing to do? Like, explain this to me. Yes, I get it. It brings Sebastian's name back into the news, which, yes, it should always be brought into the news. Every single missing child to this day and beyond should be back in the news. They don't do it because they're not getting views. That's why the mainstream media doesn't do it. But there's a reason why Seth is doing this, and he unknowingly says it. I'll point it out when it happens.
Be done.
It's sad that it needs to be. I think this is kind of a great pivot into like Sebastian's army, but I think first, I think people need to understand what brought you to this point. I mean, a lot of people that are criticizing these measures right now first of all, don't have a child missing. Secondly, they didn't have a child missing and was able to walk into what should have been deemed from not whether or not it was truly a crime scene. It just matters that when you have a missing child.
Betty just said something. Matter if it was not truly a crime scene. Okay. Keep that in mind.
There is a standard and a protocol that you should be going through each and every time. And the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children specifically put out a directive that says turn these places into crime scenes because you really don't know what truly happened to the child. And until you find the child, you need to preserve evidence. So it's the
about
standard.
Scene preservation more than it being a crime scene.
Thank you. Yes.
Preserving the last location that the child was in.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Right. And if nothing more, they usually need to keep the family out until the child is found or they know what is going on. And at this point, when I interviewed you, a year and
So I Googled if a child goes missing from the home, does it need to be treated as a crime scene? Okay, no, hold on. Yes, this is yes. Police will typically secure the child's room in the area where the child was last seen to treat them as a crime scene. He went to bed. That's the last place Katie saw him. So his room, yes, should have been treated as a crime scene. Not the whole fucking house. This protocol helps prevent crucial evidence such as footprints, scents for canine units, and items containing DNA like bedding or clothing, which are vital for investigation. Nothing accidentally disturbed, contaminated. Yeah. So it should have just been his bedroom, not the whole fucking house, Betty.
a half ago, 2 years ago almost.
Feels like it could have been yesterday.
It does.
Yeah.
You said that you walked right into that house, and the thing that just flashed before my eyes, because it's a poor.
That's another thing. When this first happened, Seth never said he sat in his truck for 30 minutes. Unless he did, and I didn't hear it. Somebody can please correct me. And he also said as soon as he walked into the door, Katie was right in his face with her cell phone. See, he was happy showing Seth a picture of Sebastian the day before, that Sunday. He doesn't bring that up at all.
Polarizing case is John Benet Ramsey. And these are, there was a lot of law enforcement policies and procedures across this country that changed as a direct result of the John Benet Ramsey case. And to think that this was such a lackadaisy, unprofessional search and situation at the beginning that should have been cut off. Nobody should have been allowed in that house until the child was found. That's typically standard op.
No, it's not.
In my
Betty.
opinion.
You just read it online. It's not. Why are you lying?
Hey guys, hey Betty, I think you're absolutely spot on. More and more of these children are being reported missing. Hey Jen, hey guys, they're reported missing, but they're really not missing. Something else happened, right? Like the Javea Harris case, very newest one that I covered. So,
right.
Yeah.
My car was searched because of that case, which again, another missed opportunity for this. Think about how many cases I've been boots on the ground at a missing child's case, and I've never had my vehicle searched. They don't know me from Adam. They don't know whether I'm coming in and going out. You know, I mean, and this was the first time that my car.
How do they not know if you're coming in or going out, Betty? If you're going into the area, you're going to get stopped and your vehicle is going to get searched. If you're leaving the area, they're going to stop and search you. You're either coming or you're going.
Was actually searched for a missing child. I felt like I wasn't offended at all. The only thing I was offended about is like, why isn't this standard operating procedure for a missing child?
Yeah, they were searching like
no, you cannot. No. Oh my God. They would stop and search thousands of vehicles. If they did this for Sebastian, let's say coming and going from his neighborhood, from his little subdivision, it wouldn't be a lot of cars. But if they got out on that road that you have to turn off to get into subdivision, there'd be thousands of cars. You just can't in a situation like that.
They're doing like checkpoints, right?
They had one. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, there was two different ones. There was one right there going in, and I introduced myself to the officer and said, where's this, staging ground for media? And so I had to go through him, and then I went up there and
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Before we get into that, can I ask Seth? He may not want to do that, but so this is coming out in the lawsuit. What your lawyers has put out is there's more in there that's redacted and stuff like that, right? That may come out or may not come out, right?
Correct.
Okay, so just to clear this up, because I've heard this around the internet. So can we put it like we've had in a private conversation, which I didn't ask you, but you've said it yourself. But so I just want to clear this up for everybody watching. It might be helpful. So you said this was one of the reasons that the C&Ds, and I could, you can stop me if I'm wrong, but you said this was one of the reasons that the C&Ds come out, because we all know that the papers got took from you. Okay, we don't have to name names and stuff like that. And some people
you're talking about the Department of Children.
Yeah. I just want to say, I'd like to clear this up real quick.
Were to put a space between me and that individual, so that when DCS, if they hit the public.
I'm assuming he's talking about Chris. And he just said earlier, we're not going to talk about them. But he's talking about a situation with Chris.
And it's not going to be by me. If they hit the public, it would know that when they sat there and came back and traced it to whoever, well, on file, I have a cease and desist, meaning I'm not only are they not supposed to be sharing any information that they have received, that I am not sharing and giving them permission to share anything that they have taken from me.
Yeah, because you didn't want, because they could arrest you for that, right? So I just wanted to clear that up about CNDs. I'm sorry, I know y'all are going into something else, but it would take a long time. So
DCS contacted that attorney, because that attorney was a family attorney, a family law.
Right.
Attorney. And she's the one that helped me get the DCS records. And, she did that to cover her client.
Right.
You
I
know,
just wanted to clear that part up. I'm sorry, Betty. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought
No.
I just thought maybe that would help clear up the CNDs and some things, because some things look bad on Seth, and I hear things, and I'm just like,
Well,
can we
It
clear that
does.
up?
we've cleared that up many times.
I
Everybody knew
know.
those C and Ds were direct related because somebody took stuff off of his phone that he was under strict confidence not to share.
You
Even
guys
as a
remember
father,
that?
you could not.
I know somebody did, and I think it was a certain person. I don't want to say his name because, hold on, here you go, Papa. Because I'm not for sure. I can't really remember, but there was a person, yes, that took these information of this CPS stuff off his phone.
Not share these documents. It's unlawful.
Betty has been with me from the get-go. Well, not the get-go, but a couple months in, and she has never seen the DCS reports.
Never.
Right.
I've been to Jen's house and have, had dinners, card nights, things like that, and she has never seen the DCS reports.
Right. That's right.
Right. And I hope that clears that up for people, because
here.
I'm still hearing that to this day. And so I thought about it, and I thought, well, while we're on here and we can clear up some stuff, maybe all heads put together, we can clear up some stuff. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yes, smart.
I'm pretty sure Tony Mathis, we all know who Tony Mathis is. He passed away, whatever. But I'm pretty sure he did, because there was a live that Seth was going to do that he was going to talk about what was in these CPS reports. And then I wish somebody would. People kept telling Seth not to do it. You can, get arrested for sharing this information. And they changed it. They changed it and they didn't do it. And I'm like, damn it. It's been so much better if Seth would have been in jail. But the way Tony was talking in that live, I'd have to go find it. But the way Tony was talking, it sounded like he knew what was in those CPS records. So I'm pretty sure Tony has seen them.
The thing is, with certain channels, it won't matter because they hear what they want to hear, and then they
because they're wrong. They've been wrong, and they just can't. They double down on every
double
lesson.
down.
Betty, how do you know these channels are wrong? We have no idea what happened to Sebastian. We don't know if he was unalived at some point. We don't know if he walked out the front door. So nobody is wrong.
On every blessed thing. At some point, you're just going to have to throw the towel in and say, look, I was wrong.
Betty,
Right.
look in the mirror.
Well, it takes a real big person in here to actually admit that they're wrong. And face it, sometimes these people are just, they never graduated high school mentally.
Yeah, but you know what? But all of
We're
us
all
face
wrong at times.
all of us face that on a freaking story.
Well, the lack of transparency has caused us to have a lot of speculation. It's human nature to fill those blanks in. We're just going to want, when we're searching for answers, we're trying to figure it out, and then the information we have is incorrect or incomplete. So, there's a lot to that, and it's been from the very beginning.
And I will state this as well. Whether the sheriff's department clears me or not, my son is my priority.
See, clears him or not. So he is not cleared, but yet he's going to turn around and sue the sheriff department. Seth, you're stupid.
And when I want information on, are you still looking for my son? You better tell me yes or no.
And never mind.
And it got to the point that.
Okay, I want to say this now because, Seth, listen, come close to the speaker. They don't tell you anything anymore because you come on here and run your mouth. That's why. You, Seth Rogers, are a liability to this case and have been. And look, Sebastian has not been found. Look how Chris and Katie, they're not saying shit. They're telling it, or they were. I don't know if they're still on YouTube, but they were telling people about Sebastian, his favorite color, his favorite food, his favorite thing that he likes to do. You're over here giving information away for free, and that is in law enforcement's eyes is not a good thing.
Tony was like, Tony asked them if they're any further than they were the last time. And when they can't answer that question, my son's missing. I'm going to assume the worst. I pray and I hope every day that the light at the end of the tunnel is my son. Because that's it.
Right.
I want to find my son. I want to bring him home. And I want to protect him because other people didn't.
Okay. He keeps saying, my son, my son. No, it's our son. He has a mother. Sidebar. My husband and his ex-wife had, they were mandated by the court to do a minimum of 3 therapy sessions. And I'm not going to say which one, but one kept saying, my children, my children. The therapist got on that person because that saying my child, my children, shows possession, and you do not have possession of your child. You share the child. So he looks at Sebastian as a possession, and he is not a possession.
And I have the records that state that he wasn't. And it doesn't matter who it states in there. The fact is that these filings is because 2 agencies failed my son.
That's all.
They failed communication, they failed procedures, and they failed policies.
And sometimes policies need to be changed.
Yeah.
Protocols need to be changed.
And
Tennessee doesn't have a good track record at all of finding the missing. So, you got to do something different to get different results, and that's what you're doing, Seth.
I see the problem. I've been living the problem, and before we even got to this filing stuff, I've been working on Sebastian's law.
Right.
I've been working on a law that helps fix the problems and puts oversight on some of these agencies to fix the problem and make our children a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Too many of these organizations, I've seen them fail the children, and they're supposed to be for the children.
That's right.
And that's besides being upsetting, it leads to the downfall of civilization.
It's bad for everybody, especially the kids.
Right.
But these are some of the things that kind of pushed you over the edge in why you wanted to bring this suit, is because a lot of that communication, like you said, not only you, Tony's asked, I know we've asked publicly here on our channels, many of us, are we any further than we were the day that this was reported? Basic information we don't even have.
What
did he even make it home from the Texas Roadhouse? I mean, that is basic information that you would think that they would have no problem. It doesn't go to the integrity of the investigation. Did he make it home or not? Yes or no?
Right.
And I can't
100%
for that. So, I mean,
and oh my gosh, can you imagine if at this moment they don't even know if he made it home or not? And we're 2.5 years into this case.
I think like that's what Betty has inside Seth's head, that Sebastian didn't make it home. We don't know. We don't know if he made it home or not. But let's say he did. Let's say he came home, he took the trash out like Katie said, because that was one of his chores. Did whatever he needed to do before it was bedtime. If that is the case, Betty has it in Seth's head, Sebastian never made it home. I can't with this.
Just the things that floor me when it comes to the questions we have, and we have no answers. Any answer that anybody gives you is speculative because it's not coming from the mouths of babes. It's not coming from them.
Right. We've all speculated, and even myself, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe he didn't make it home. Jen, you have 2 maps. One that he made it home, one that he didn't.
Right. And many of us have been divided. We have great content creators that are looking at this very.
Oh, I was totally on Seth's side when this first happened. I was 100% green team until he came online and started running his mouth about not how this should be. Any hard feelings you have towards the other parent, set it aside. Come together as a group so you can share information. Or like, he would be like, hey, Katie, I got this text today, or I got this email today. Somebody said they saw Sebastian, da-da-da-da-da. Let's look into it. You need to work as a team, not a one-on-one.
Analytically. And it's like, wait a minute, it's just, we all do it. Wait a minute. We don't even know. We have no factual basis to even say he walked in that door. Who told us that he made it home? Katie.
Right.
She went right in the garage.
Well, to be fair, I mean, there is that video out there that Sonny Weatherford did say that. And in my opinion, I understand everybody has their own opinions, but in my opinion, to be fair, and Seth knows I feel this way, and it wouldn't really matter. I mean, I do feel he made it home, but that's just my opinion. And my opinion,
I join you, so you're not alone in that. But I do know that there are many people, a trusted, very good content creator. Mama Rissa's in here tonight. I know that her and Hindsight have been working diligently, exploring that avenue, and they're not wrong for doing so.
No, nobody's wrong. Everybody has their right to their opinion and their thoughts and whatever they think. We're not going to think the same.
But if you post that in
chat, it does need to be explored, because at the end of the day, what person of actual factual status has said that he even made it home? But let's get back to some of this stuff that's in the report before we get too far off
the reservation.
Off the reservation. And I think that it's super important because a lot of these things, let's be honest, we've been deceived. Even you have been deceived. If we were to talk about deception here, you were deceived by lack of communication by the Department of Children and Family Services is one thing. And even
the CPS thing, never mind.
No, we're probably not going to go into that case too much tonight. We found out, which we did not know, that Sumner County Sheriff's Department were involved in both of those investigations. So they were well aware of these two investigations. When your child...
Every time that I've seen anything with any child protection agency or Department of Children's Services, if you look at some of the videos, even on YouTube, when they show up, they have law enforcement with them because they're a government agency, but they don't have the authority that law enforcement has.
No, I believe that's only if they're going to remove the child from the home. I've seen many videos on here and other platforms where they do not have a law enforcement with them because they're not removing the child.
All right. So when I asked them, you guys weren't involved with these DCS records, DCS, and I couldn't get a straight answer. But the first time that I was notified about anything, it was from the security resource officer at his middle school. And they called me on the phone.
So the problem started at high school.
Well, no, the thing is the school resource officer called me. I came in, that gentleman spoke to me like 30 or 45 minutes by myself.
Gotcha. I misunderstood you.
And that's when I told them about what happened in California. And I told them he needs help. He needs the help that I can't give him professionally. I mean, I'm trying to help him as much as I can as his dad, but I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. You know, he needs help. And he didn't start getting the mental health appointments until after that.
FlexJobs is the #1 job site to find remote work from home and flexible schedules.
So boring.
So 3 days prior, him going missing, he had a doctor's appointment.
Good point. Yeah.
He had an appointment on Monday.
On Monday?
That was canceled on a Friday.
On Friday.
Which is, again, it comes back to blowing our mind because
I see.
He disappeared on Monday. How did she foresee he would not be able to make it to that appointment on Friday?
I don't really want.
Betty, have you never canceled and rescheduled an appointment? I've done it. I've been making all my son's appointments for 17, almost 18 years. I've had to do it a few times because he was sick or I had another appointment that I needed to go to, so I've rescheduled my son's appointments. I've rescheduled my appointments. It happens.
I want to talk about her.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay.
So the appointment, was that a mental health appointment?
Yeah, he was having 2 or 3 appointments every week.
Okay.
Not to mention there was at-home visits too. And when he was up here, they did at-home visits here. There were times that his appointment on Friday for me to pick him up, I would be there and Sebastian would stay there for, at the house for 30, 45 minutes to have his appointment with her. And then we would leave their house to come up here.
So I went ahead and just asked one of my AI programs, are there laws in Tennessee that criminalize physical punishment of a disabled person? And it says yes. Tennessee has several criminal statutes that apply when a disabled person is physically punished or abused, plus the general assault law that protects everyone. Here's how the framework fits together. The most directly relevant law in Tennessee is Code Section 3915.510, which makes it an offense to knowingly abuse an elderly or vulnerable adult. For this statute, abuse means the infliction of physical harm in a vulnerable adult or person. That's not to a child. Hold on. Let me rephrase that. Let's see. What about child? They're talking about adults. Hold on. And I will read that, but I want to see about the child. What about a child?
And I'm under the understanding that this is, so basically your attorney has went over Tennessee and this is everything that he is doing is federal.
Correct.
So like the Title IV, I'm thinking that is the Family First, where the Family First Act, Preservation Act, the Title IV.
Title IV is Title IV is when the individual that is at extreme risk is put up for non-custodial care or foster care.
Oh, you're talking about with the statement that he was in grave or in imminent danger of being removed. Are you talking about that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was what
happen. Mm-hmm.
Okay, here is what it says. It says, for disabled children, the governing law in Tennessee is Child Abuse Statute 3915.401. Rather than a vulnerable adult statute I described earlier, it protects any child under 18, and disability affects the particular picture more than it changes the statutory text. The core offense, knowingly, other than by accidental means, treating a child under the age of 18 so as it inflicts injury, is child abuse. The penalty turns primarily on the child's age. If the child is older than 8, it's a Class A misdemeanor. If the child is 8 or younger, it's a Class D felony. There's a parallel provision for abuse or neglect that adversely affects the child's health, and welfare, which is a Class A misdemeanor generally, but a Class E felony if the child is 8 or under. The offense escalates to aggravated child abuse under Section 39-15-402 when the child abuse results in serious bodily injury to that child, a deadly weapon or a dangerous instrument is used, or an act was especially heinous or anything. I don't think that is. I just wanted to see if him admitting that he gut punched or swatted in the gut a disabled child, if that would rise to the level for child abuse, for a child abuse charge. And it sounds like it is a misdemeanor. So in reality, it sounds like them failing to charge Chris after admitting abuse of your son would be negligent too. I mean, there is, that's all I was looking at. I was just trying to answer my own question without asking you too much about it. But what do you believe has been done, if anything, that you can share?
I've had tips and stuff come in, and my personal experience with the tips that have come in, there's a reason why I go to these places. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why I speak to the police department or the sheriff's department or both, and wherever these tips are, and I hand them flyers that are from the FBI. And then I speak to them. And
I'm a live-in assistant to 2 New York City-based cat influencers, and here's everything I did today. It's very important.
Miley, you sent me a tip.
Yeah.
And when you sent me that tip, at that point in time, I was still in communication with Sumner County.
Yes, absolutely.
So I sent that to them, and I waited 2 days and drove up there.
Yeah.
And I spoke to
you didn't wait 2 days. You went, but you were waiting on them.
I waited 2 days for them, for Sumner County. But I drove up there and saw that the building was closed, contacted the sheriff's department. They came and met me. Like literally I got out and they were like, "Are you armed?" And I was like, "Yes." And they're like, "Okay, before we speak, do you mind if we pat you down?" And I'm like, whatever means to make you feel comfortable, that is fine, because I need your help. And
crazy.
I need your right. Well, it's a crazy world since there are certain things that have gone on. Law enforcement cannot expect anybody that walks up to them to be friendly with good purpose.
But that sheriff was on the phone with me, a 3-way, or not a 3-way, but standing there with Seth. It was wild. But what happened and led to the tip, that was real, wasn't it, Seth? That was wild.
It was. I mean, that's when I found out that the person was making a trip to Mexico.
And I think that's where a lot of the Mexico stuff started coming in.
The sheriff's department had no idea who Sebastian was.
Oh my God. Okay, so not every sheriff department is going to know who Sebastian is, because they don't, I don't want to say they don't talk, because we know they do on certain things, like a high-speed chase. They'll contact the next county over, "Hey, they're coming to your county. Can you meet us at the line?" kind of thing. Whatever. Okay. They're not going to know who Sebastian is. I used to live in Tennessee. Like, I used to live in the same town Seth lives in. My late husband was in the military. I'm going to leave that part at that. But I know where Nashville is. I know where Hendersonville is. I've been to all these places. He said he went to Paris, I think. No, it wasn't Paris. No, what town was it? It's like 2 hours west of there. And he's like, they didn't even know who Sebastian was. They're not fucking going to. They're not. If one, it's 2 hours away. And if the Sumner County had an idea that he was over that way, they would have contacted him.
And this was still in Tennessee. This was still in Tennessee, and they had no idea who Sebastian was. I literally put them in. I gave them the number for Sumner County. I gave them the number for Brandon. I gave him the number for my TBI contact, and I gave him the number for the FBI contact. And when I called and followed up a week later with them, they still hadn't heard anything from Sumner County or TBI, and the only person that they had heard from was the FBI.
To this day, I still tell Seth, please, I would go there and still look around. That's how serious this tip was.
And Smiley, excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. Smiley, I know that that is Chris Proudfoot. Also, I will just say he confessed to you on your show that he struck Sebastian with a belt. I don't know how hard the strike.
I don't know about Tennessee, but the state I'm in, you are allowed. I've asked because of other situations, not with my child, but I've asked. You are allowed to strike a child with a belt, an open hand, a switch, ice water, but it cannot be closed fists. So these people need to look up or ask somebody in Tennessee, what can I use and what can I not use to spank my child? So this the hitting on the stomach.
It's another.
Oh, and it also, if you spank them open hand, it has to be on their butt, nowhere it's visible. That's what I was told.
It's just another admission, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the law enforcement has that whole video, and I will say they did come back and take 3 pieces out of it, but or timestamps or whatever, but they have that whole thing. So whatever they did with it or are doing with it or whatever.
I've had other tips that have been in Kentucky and quite literally communicated with the police department and sheriff's department up there. They said that they had that the person that they saw looked like Sebastian, and he was living in a tent on property on this person's farmland, like right off the road. And the information that they gave me sounded like Sebastian. They told me that what they saw around the tent, and I was like, well, I know my son. I know he likes that type of canned food because I bought it for him before. And I turned around and I gave all this information to Sumner County, and they would not even go up there and retrieve anything to do DNA or whatnot out of the tent that was still there and the cans that were there. And I'm like, there's cans, there's disposable utensils, and a tent. You should be able to get DNA out of any of this stuff, and you've already taken DNA stuff with DNA on it that has
a homeless campsite. I can tell you right now, in Clarksville, at the Walmart on, I want to say Fort Campbell Boulevard, but it turns into something else. It's on the Tennessee side. If you're coming from the base, you're heading south on it. It's right off of 469. Or is it 469? Oh, no, it's right off of 101st Airborne. It's right off of that overpass, right? If you're standing there looking at Walmart, okay, to your left side, there is like a line of trees that comes out, and then as it goes back towards the back of the building of Walmart, it gets thicker. We used to call that homeless hotel, or that's what people around there called it, and I kind of just picked it up because that's where all the homeless people go. There was even a white dog back there we used to feed. that dog had nobody. It was legit homeless. Dog's fine. It got taken and it's living its best life on with other dogs now. Anyways, and then on the other side of that line of trees is like Dollar Tree, and there's a couple. It's like a little mini mall strip thing. But there's homeless all over that area. In Nashville, I can tell you, when we would go down, we would get, you could stop at a red light or whatever, and you would see homeless people. And I always did this every time I seen them because it showed me that they're willing to work. Somebody made up like a little newspaper. It was 4 pages. That's just it. You'd open it and close it. That's all it was. It was 4 pages. And it was news about what's happening in Nashville. And these homeless people would go to this place every morning and get a stack of it. And they would stand at the street corners and they would sell it. It was 25 cents. So every time we went and I seen one of them, like I literally chased down one time because I wanted to help him. And 25 cents, and he gave it to me. He said, "Thank you, ma'am." And I said, "You're welcome, sir. Have a good rest of your day." And then I can tell you too, Nashville has, I call it the Walk of Fame. It's like the same thing in Hollywood, but Nashville style. I actually have a picture because I come from a rural area, so I've never seen homeless like this before. Like we don't have that around here. They have it. You got to step down. It's kind of like a dug out square section, and they have like Reba McEntire star and like Garth Brooks and all that stuff, right? And they have like benches, like concrete benches built in, like kind of like steps a little bit, but there's just one around the perimeter of this spot. And there was a homeless guy sleeping there with his hand down his pants. They are everywhere. They're everywhere. And I've seen them under overpasses along going from Clarksville to Nashville. So they camp up underneath the overpass. They're everywhere. So you can't just test this one because you don't know who it is. It's definitely probably not going to be Sebastian.
So there's no reason why, and they never did.
So
I had to have my PI go do it because I know that if I go up there and get evidence, then it's considered tampered with. It's fruit of the forbidden tree. And, when I go to places, I speak to law enforcement. It's the first thing I do. I call law enforcement whenever I enter into the county, so that way they know I'm there and they know why I'm there. And then I ask to meet them at wherever location I'm going.
It seems incomplete, in my opinion. Incomplete.
And this is what I've been facing. No telling what Sebastian's going through.
Somebody right now. His wife died.
Do you think that, I shouldn't be asking you those questions. Never mind.
Well, yeah. Don't ask my opinion. Tony's looking at you.
I already felt him in the back of him, smacked me in the back of my head.
He done whistled in my ear. Hey, so
I'm trying to kind of wrap my head. How much did you actually know before you received the reports from the Department of Children and Family Services? I mean, because there's stuff about Christopher whacking him and
I knew none of this. When I state that I knew about the first one, I know about the first one because I spoke to the resource officer.
Yeah,
I never spoke to DCS.
Oh, so even the first time they never contacted you?
No, the only reason I know about everything in the first one was because the school's resource officer contacted me. Deputy Rogers with Sumner County had contacted me, and I thought it sticks in my head because that's my last name. So when I walked in, it was, hello, Deputy Rogers. I'm Deputy Rogers. Nice to meet you. And it was there. And I spoke to him for 30, 45 minutes, and Chris and Katie both were called in by the school and the resource officer.
Well, Thank you for clarifying, because that was a big, Great question, Betty, because that was a big one.
Never contacted me. So everything in those reports I knew nothing about until my attorney was able to get them. And they're redacted.
But the stuff that you did read was heartbreaking. And you couldn't even talk about it, and you still haven't been able to talk about it. I mean, this is really as much as I think that the most that has come out, and I think this is. I'm sure your attorney was scant because of the sensitivity of this case, and what the little bit is put in here is fairly shocking. I mean,
yeah, that's why I told you I could talk about what's that's in the filing itself, because it's now public record.
Right.
But anything else I can't talk about because
it's not here, and yeah.
And I'm not allowed to because yeah.
So so my understanding is when Eric Craddock told the public, I mean, based upon this, and it's kind of in here, but maybe you can clarify just a little bit more. When he told the public that they're now switching gears and going from the ground search to more of the investigative side of things, I think was almost verbatim the words he used, the investigative side, that's when they basically just turned off the spigot. Like nothing more was really done from that point.
They did a ground search. I want to say 5 miles out. Out from Katie's house. And I know people have drove around. Like, if you don't know, I call it the back roads of Tennessee. I don't know what I want to call it. The country, pretty much. It is horrible. It is steep terrain. It's heavily wooded. It's very unforgiving. Very unforgiving. So I don't know if they went way out, but they went out.
Point forward. I mean, we had what was his name? Widener guy. Ken Widener out there saying in his, 30 years or 40 years of doing this, he's never had a case where the dogs didn't pick up a scent. And, we're hearing those things. And then we're finding out that the case is just, they didn't get anything. So it's just like, okay, well, what do we do now? I guess we go to a different side of the investigation. Okay, well, now they're on a different side of the investigation. What happens from that point? Usually they go to the reports, who came in and out of the neighborhood. They start looking for isolated areas to search. We've seen that many times where they pulled back on the main search, but then like a week or two later, or 3 weeks or a month later, now they're out there on a targeted search looking for something that they heard or saw based on, the leads. We never saw any of that happen anywhere in Tennessee. It's like as if so anyways, coming back to it, did they do anything? Did they follow any additional leads after that first 8 days that you know of?
I can't answer that question.
That's okay.
With anything except for I don't know.
Yeah. And that's pretty bad because
now what I can tell you from what my understanding is that even while the ground search was going on by Sumner County and 7 other agencies, which I appreciate all the agencies that came in to search for my son on the ground, nothing came from it.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44. Guys.
There we go.
But
that we know of. Right.
They didn't find my son.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's the only thing that matters to me is finding my son and bringing him home. But I know that TBI was involved because they're the ones who issue the Amber Alert.
What were you hopeful that their involvement would bring in more resources that would locate your son?
I was hopeful for anything. For anything. I'm still hopeful for stuff. You know, I accept, and that for me not to be is a disservice to my son. To not accept help is a disservice for the missing. My son is missing. I need him. I need him. I need him.
Because they did turn down services, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Can you name a few?
Marshals is a good one that they turned down.
The U.S. Marshals, that was pretty shocking.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. They turned down the cold case. They've turned down a few other
it's not a cold
PIs
case.
that I had employed to help. Sumner County won't even speak to them, and they're ex-law enforcement.
All right. Wow. So they've just turned down a whole mess of.
Well, while the ground search was going on, TBI has stated that they were investigating it criminally.
Well, but my question is if TBI was involved and they were a resource to Sumner County, and Sumner County was asking them, are we doing anything? Why would they not point out that they never turned the house into a crime scene, or they've never properly did this or never properly did that? I mean, it's still shocking to me to this day that there was never a crime scene tape ever put up around that house. Not once.
No, when I showed up, nobody asked who I was or anything else. I spoke to the dog people. They didn't know who I was either.
Can you tell us again who exactly was there when you showed up?
No, it's nothing to do with the filing right now.
Okay.
Only thing I want to speak about is the agencies. I don't want to talk about anything else.
Okay.
Sorry.
So in other words, they didn't want to bring anybody in to help with the criminal side. Is that what I'm hearing? Or is
And
that
the
right?
case, yeah, that sounds right. And the case losing its momentum as soon as they
had 7 different agencies in there. 7. Didn't have the cold case because it wasn't a cold case at the time. I believe for cold case to come in, I think it's got to be cold for 3 years. I think I'd have to Google it, but it wasn't that. That's not considered a cold case at all within the first few months. And this Marshals, I thought they like hunted people, not look for missing kids. I could be wrong. I don't know anything about it. I'm just gonna say that. But come on, you had 7 different agencies, the largest man search in Tennessee state history, and they did nothing. Come on, shut the fuck up.
They stopped the ground search, but they had thousands. The problem I'm having here is they had thousands of
sidebar. When I lived in Tennessee, there was a little 4-year-old boy. He went missing. He was missing 3 or 4 days. He would have been found sooner, but he went missing during winter, and that was during the time when we had that really bad cold snap. In Tennessee, it was negative 14 degrees. And then where I'm at currently right now, it was negative 40. Okay. They didn't want out there searching at night because, for one, it's too cold. 2, you can't see shit. I mean, you cannot see anything out in the country of Tennessee. And like I said, the terrain is very unforgiving. It's horrible out there. I almost want to say you have to be an experienced hiker to hike through there. I mean, it's not like the Alps or anything, but it's you're walking along and you're like, oh, hey, that rock is sticking halfway out. I'm going to step on it. And then the rock just gives out under you, kind of terrain, kind of thing. So they actually had to stop the search, I think, for 2 days because of how cold it was. And then they started it up again, and they found him. He was not alive. He was frozen to the ground with his little blue blanket he had and his footed pajamas. So it's all about safety, being out there. You go out searching, you need to be checked in with somebody and let them know where you're going. And then Seth gets I'll get to the Seth part here in a minute.
Leads allegedly, and you would think that after the ground search, they would be following these leads. Those leads should have produced, even if it was like a left field type of issue, it should have produced at least one searchable area. And they've never searched again. And they've never talked about the case publicly again. And then 2 years went by. I mean, that's kind of the problem I think that I have. I'm absolutely confident that it has a lot to do with what frustrates Seth about this.
I mean, they kept the construction going. They kept everything. I mean, it's like,
they shut nothing down.
Construction. Why? I keep racking my mind about that. Why would construction continue to keep going on when there's a missing child? And yes, the dog led to that little retention pond, but I don't even think it went over to the construction site, because that's where that little retention pond is where Sebastian's scent went. And then it just vanished. But my idea with the construction site, because I don't know why they didn't stop it, at least for a day or two, so they can search over there. But my thing is, like, where the retention pond is, kind of behind it, is where they were building the new construction. My theory is because Seth let Sebastian sit and play PlayStation or whatever it was all day long, 12 hours straight while he's at work, Sebastian may have made a friend on there. And they just talked about games and stuff, which, okay, cool. But I just have a feeling that Sebastian said, well, I'll be at my mom's, da-da-da-da-da, and they're like, well, I can drop by and give you this game. And they may have said, I'll be there at da-da-da-da time. Sebastian went out, got back that night, went outside that night, and they snatched him. Had a car waiting somewhere, maybe. So I want to say, because if his scent did go to the retention pond and then it didn't go anywhere else, that's where he was snatched at. And that car could have been waiting over in that construction area. But I do think they should have stopped the construction. I do.
They acted like he was a 5-year-old with autism looking in ponds, that were just the whole search was just, I don't know, was just to see the new construction continuously going. I was
Seth, did they ever ask you? I'm sorry, you just brought up something, Jen. Did they ever ask you about your son while you were there? That any time there, like his behaviors, even when they were starting to look for, like, in the ponds and stuff? Did they ever ask you would he be in the pond or would he go toward the pond?
No.
Because you were a weekend dad. Every other weekend is when you got him. That's why. Katie and Chris were the ones around him all the time.
They literally asked me what his favorite song is.
Eye of the Tiger. And they played it because he liked that song. I figured, hey, maybe he'll come out.
I mean, he's 15 and they're playing Eye of the Tiger like he's a kid, like he's little boy. It just, that seemed weird to me. And, Ken Widener kept talking about his experience with autistic children. Well, yeah, I mean, autistic children that, 4 or 5 years old that are, maybe not verbal, or I don't know. That seemed very weird to me. And I think that the protocols.
So Seth is trying to say that they did nothing with the 7 agencies, largest search in history, and they played Eye of the Tiger because that was Sebastian's favorite song, thinking maybe we can get him to come out. They literally threw everything at this. Everything. A song. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at this to find him.
Their policies and their protocols are so outdated.
I don't think they're outdated. I think you're giving them too much credit.
They don't have the proper training. I think that Seth's attorney was correct, Mr. Ritchie, when he said that they are amateur, definitely amateur, and that's what it looked like to me. It looked like an amateur, even though there was a lot of agents there.
I'll tell you right now that I know I upset them at the very beginning.
You did.
When they were like, we want everybody to stay here. Well, I don't want to be at my ex's house. Okay? I don't want to be there. Jen, you know me.
Right.
I'd rather be in my truck than even in my house.
Yeah.
All right. Because if in my truck, I'm on the move. I'm going.
You would rather eat sawdust.
No.
Well, but they should have treated the house like a crime scene. They shouldn't have everybody up at the house contaminating.
I think that they should have preserved it. Maybe not as a crime scene.
They should have preserved it. Even
Yeah.
if he was a runaway till they figured out what was going on. Although I never will believe he ran away. I will never believe that.
I spent more time at the command center trying to get information on where to go look than I did at that house.
Seth is going to talk about this command center. We all heard that he got kicked out of the command center. And he's going to tell us why.
And it was to the point that they literally approached me one of the times I pulled in from looking, because I was driving around, windows were down, I was screaming Sebastian's name, I was going anywhere and everywhere, met some people who did not know the child was missing.
Okay, he didn't know that these people didn't know he was missing because it just fucking happened. It hasn't hit the news yet.
Let them know that he is missing and pulled up so they could see pictures of him. And it got to the point that Sumner County approached me and stated, you need to stop being here at the command center.
Yeah.
Well, what am I supposed to do? My son is missing. I'm going to go look for him. I don't know where he's at.
You just wanted to do something. Listen.
I can't sit on my hands and not do anything. And they're like,
I don't blame you.
Well, you're coming in and you're looking at Caltopa. And I'm like, and you have it set up outside the building to begin with. So anybody could pull in and look. They went as far as contacting my job to let them know that I was where.
Hold on. Seth, come close again. Come here. You cannot go into this as it is an active investigation. Okay, you can stay there at the thing. Pull up a chair, sit along the back wall. Okay, you can look at all this stuff, but you cannot pull off areas that is up on the screen and leave to go search for them. One, you could run the risk of telling people, which you have no problem doing, telling them everything about the case. And two, they don't know where you went. If you never came back because you were hurt or you fell and died, they wouldn't know where you're at. That's why.
Wearing my coat from work so that I would receive a write-up. But there was news crews everywhere, and I was told not to do any interviews by Chief Deputy Craddock.
Duh.
He told us not to do any interviews.
That's for one, in case Sebastian was found around the corner. And you do an interview, they stream it, and then, oh, look, he was found right after they published it. Now the news has to go back and backtrack. And two, it was too early. He still could have been found. It's just giving information out is what it is. Oops, what did I do? I'm so irritated right now. I just want to stop.
So I don't want to look like somebody out of, the whatever, walking into the command center. Everybody's in uniforms or, for their agency and stuff like that. So I had my sheriff hat on and my coat.
That reminds me. His story changed. In the beginning, he said he went straight from work to Katie's house. And he walked in. Nobody said anything to him other than Katie because he had his corrections uniform on. But here he's saying he only had his hat and his coat on. Where did you find time to change your pants and your shoes and your shirt? He doesn't say anything about that.
Visa's advanced AI checks over 500 data points on transactions to help prevent fraud.
What happened? Not my shirt, not my pants, not my boots, not
where did you find time to change?
And it was cool. Like, it was cool enough that you needed to have a coat. And they contacted my boss to write me up for wearing my coat.
So you just got off from work. You got this worse news. And do you just kind of feel like they were out to get you from the start? I mean,
I don't feel they were out to get me. I felt that they felt like they didn't like somebody looking over their shoulder.
Yeah.
See what they're...
Because of all the information coming in through that little center they have built. That's why. Information needs to stay within the law enforcement. Not you, not Katie, not Chris. Nobody other than law enforcement needs to know what the hell is going on at this point in his disappearance, I should say.
Doing. But it's my son.
Yeah. That's kind of that pompous ego crap that we always talk about.
Right.
Yeah. I don't care who you are. Please help me find my son. But when it comes down to what you're doing, I'm looking to see what you're doing because I'm looking for my son too.
Yeah, they probably...
I see the big screen up there and they're showing Caltopa and I'm like, okay, I really don't know much about how this county is laid out, but I'm pulling up the county map and then I'm looking at Caltopa and I'm like, nobody has searched here or here or here.
They saw him doing this. You can't do that. Because what happens if you go to this area and you find him not alive? Find him not alive, head cracked open, or a bear or something. Because Tennessee has bears. A bear or something. That falls back on law enforcement. But then listen, he says more.
And I jump in my truck and I go search those areas.
See? You can't do that. I told my husband, because he's got 3 kids of his own. I said, if any of your kids ever go missing, you can stay at home. I will go to the command center. And if they ask me to help search, I will. And I was like, I would hope you would do the same thing if it was my son. Because I don't want to be the one to find my own child. But he got kicked out because, for one, he's going to these places. 2, it's about safety. He goes missing and hurts himself, dies. They don't know where he's at.
In my vehicle, because they told me if you're not going to stay in here at the house and you're going to search, do it from your vehicle.
Yeah,
and the last thing we want is for you to go missing while we're searching for your son.
Yeah, in my opinion, it sounds a little bit egotistical, and it sounds like they felt a little bit intimidated as well.
I mean, obviously they felt intimidated.
No, they didn't.
Because Sheriff Craddock asked me to put in an application and come work for it.
Oh, I bet he did.
I'm sorry, sir. Nope. I'm not going to work for you. If you were to have found my son and done a proper investigation and stuff of that sort and not had your ego or whatever it is when you're dealing with me, that would have showed me some professionalism. But
probably what happened with the application for Seth is Seth was shooting his mouth off. Probably telling Craddock, hey, you need to do a better job. You need to do this. Craddock, probably being a smart ass, said, well, then fill out an application. And he's going to turn it into something else.
I don't need to show you professionalism. I am a parent of a missing child. I am extremely emotional about this. I cannot be involved with what's going on. And that's a conflict of interest if I put your badge on.
Exactly.
Let me ask you this. How do you feel about CPS? Were they not supposed to, California, should they have not had those records in Tennessee when Tennessee come and notified
state child agencies do not communicate with each other.
They should.
Okay.
I 100% agree with
Now, in order for you either have to have them or you have to have an attorney from one state to be able to get them and send them to an attorney of another state.
No,
you
but
employ both.
no, but what I mean is like when CPS was called in Tennessee,
right,
and they didn't notify you. Usually, when they come out, they know everything about everything more than you know about yourself.
That's true.
I've never spoken to DCS here.
No, I understand that. That's not what I'm saying. When they come out about Sebastian, Katie was still his mother. They would have had whole kits and caboodles about Sebastian, whether you were in the picture or not. They should have picked up the phone and said, "We're calling his dad. Where's his dad?" Is that so? Why did that not happen? I mean, in your opinion?
In California?
No, from
here.
Tennessee. They should have had all those records from California.
I believe that they were able to get those records from California after the SRO from his school had the meeting and communication with us. Because from my understanding, with what I have read, DCS here has read that information from California.
All right, let me ask you this.
Isn't there CPS records on Seth from California? So I think there is. I'm pretty sure. Like, a couple of them. But if Tennessee was able to get CPS records from California, there's a reason why they didn't talk to you.
Do you think
I
if
don't think they usually
they
do.
had have contacted you in Tennessee and you would have known about what was in those records, that you would have your son home?
I think that if they had contacted me, I wouldn't know any of y'all. I'd be still living my best life with my son.
Mine again.
I'd be, I mean, literally, I'd be spending weekends fishing with him, and I'd be spending plenty of time playing cards, playing tournaments with him, playing D&D, and I would not be at my house right now at 8:00 at night in front of my computer talking to people about the fact that he's missing, because he wouldn't be missing. Right now, we would be at the game store because it's open until midnight.
I know
we
what you're talking
D&D
about,
until
I've been there.
midnight.
I know which one you're talking
You know, we spend 4 or 5 hours playing D&D. It's where me and him should be at right now. Unless, of course, he didn't want to. But the greatest thing about D&D with Sebastian and with me is that you get tired of playing one character, you just make another one. So it's never the same thing over and over.
I don't play D&D, so I don't know anything about that.
It's just...
It's a shame.
Chewy knows cats are particular. Like if they don't love their food, they just won't eat. Or how they...
I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be filing a lawsuit against these entities. None of this.
It's not about money, is it, Seth? It's not one bit about money.
Take everything I have. I don't care. I just want my son.
It started at $15 million, then went to $25 million that he's suing for. Seth, where's that money from the GoFundMe that was started 3 days after Sebastian went missing? We would love to know where that money went. I've heard rumors, but I'm not gonna talk about them. I've heard rumors where they went, but everybody else would like to know.
That's all I want. I asked my attorney about. I was like, "What's up?" I did ask him because I was like, first thing I was like, my son is worth more than this $10 million. Why did you stop at that? And he was like, well, it's not about what your son's worth. And I was like, well, that's obvious because my son's worth more than all the money in the world.
That's true.
And he was like, the point of what we're asking for is to draw attention to how serious this is.
It is so serious that we have got to have.
Does Seth not realize when this gets dismissed, all of these YouTube creators are going to come out and point fingers and laugh at him because he tried to sue DCS or CPS, whatever you fucking want to call it, and the sheriff's department and lost? I mean, I really hope this is just I don't want to say trick. What am I looking for? I don't know if I want to use the word ploy. I just hope he knows, like, how do I want to put this? Like, I hope that Seth is hoping that this will get dismissed, because if it doesn't and it goes to trial, it's going to be years of trial. Like, it's going to take a while to get through everything and interview every single officer that was there that day, the depositions. He's going to pay for the depositions himself. Like, it's going to cost way too much money that he doesn't have. I know he doesn't have it. But I'm just hoping he's like, let's try this. Let's force their hand. Yeah, it'll get dismissed, but it'll bring Sebastian back into light. And maybe the sheriff's department will start telling me stuff again. Which they're not going to anyway, because fucking Seth can't keep his mouth shut.
That's how he explained it to me. And I said, well, you're the attorney. This is your wheelhouse. It's not mine. Even being on YouTube is not my wheelhouse.
Well, law is not my wheelhouse, but I can say that people are taking it seriously. It seems, in my opinion, that they are taking it seriously now.
Real quick, Bullhorn Betty is the new Molly Golightly eaten on live. Sorry.
It's very serious matter when we see this filing. There is nothing pleasant about it.
No, what it shows is failure of the Department of Children and Family Services to remove a child from a dangerous home. And it shows law enforcement willingly knowing that there was abuse going on, have enough, according to the Tennessee statutes, to make an arrest of Chris Proudfoot for at least a misdemeanor. And still to this day, they have not arrested that man for a misdemeanor that he acknowledged doing. He spit it out of his own mouth that he did it.
Yes, Betty. Yes. Yes, indeed.
I took a belt to my son's buttocks, and with one slap on his closed buttocks. I believe that's exactly what he stated. I just...
Yeah.
Yeah. He said it a couple different times and ways. Give him one leg.
Obviously, it's in the filing. Anything that's in the filing that has parentheses around it comes straight out of the filing. Out of
the report. The reports, the DCS reports, those quotations and parentheses, those are direct excerpts from the reports, the DCS reports, DCF, whatever it's called. Wow.
Okay, that's good to know. So when we get into that, those pieces.
So let me read some of those directly out of the report. Then I've got the stuff right here. So let me just read it directly out of the report.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up on my computer. I could read some of it, but
I've got to get past all the language here. Okay. So the first thing, minor child 3 times a week.
Oh God, I don't know what Nashville, Tennessee is.
I think a 16 is going to be the most. Let's see. Factual allegations.
Oh my God, Tennessee.
So these are the factual allegations. The history of abuse and vulnerabilities were known to law enforcement. And these aren't the quotations. Hold on, where are the quotations? Okay, here's one.
Customize and save. Liberty Mutual. Still got it.
Hey, Spectrum Internet customers. Want to save $1,000? Switch to mobile.
Tell you what, since I've been wired in, things are going a lot faster.
Hated that. Oh, here it is. Neighbors reported that Proudfoot, and when you look back on 16B, Christopher Proudfoot is considered Proudfoot. So when you see Proudfoot on here, they're specifically referring to Chris specifically. And they say under 16D, neighbors reported Proudfoot, and they put in exact quotations of what the neighbor said. Hated the child and wanted the child to die. And then the grandmother reported the stepfather often called Sebastian's names and would degrade him. Hey, Seth, let me, if you don't mind me asking, and you don't have to answer this, but it is in the report, is the grandmother your mother or his mother?
Yes.
Okay.
When did you forgot password? Because
Gotcha.
I don't remember it.
And then this right here, this is another one out of the report. DCS determined, they put this in quotations, or in quote marks, at serious or imminent risk of removal from Proudfoot's home under Title 9E candidacy program.
Title 4E. So that's
is that 4E?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I was.
I thought it was
yeah,
9.
that's what I wanted you to read.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. It's an X. It's an X. Sorry, I'm trying to. I got my Roman.
So the Title 4E. What I'm under the impression of. Let me look. Hold on. Title 4E is actually Family First Prevention Services Act. So Family First Prevention Services. So they failed to prevent what happened. I mean, they failed in so many ways.
Right. So these are in quotation marks. So this is in a report somewhere that this is actually in the report that he was at serious or imminent risk of removal. And my big problem is
non-custodial custody.
To non-custodial custody. Wow.
Or foster parents, which means they should have immediately contacted me.
You.
And there would have been no more reports because he would have been here.
Oh my God.
He would have been safe. Yeah. He'd be hiding underneath his bed reading a book or playing his video games. He'd be here.
All preventable. All preventable.
Yeah, what took my breath away when I read that is that what if they would have just taken him and you didn't even know? I mean, they're not telling you anything. They're not calling you. They're not, conveying any of this stuff to you.
Great point, Jen.
What would have prevented them from just taking him and not even letting you know?
What did?
Well, it sounded like that's what they were about to do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It sounds like if they were at the point, so because I can hear how it's going to be spinning right now. It sounds like they were at the point, they didn't come to this agreement, Seth and all them, whatever they were doing before, and Seth said, wait a year, blah, blah, blah. Look, if they would have called Seth and Seth would have said, hypothetically, if he would have said, I can't, I need time, I don't have whatever, then they were at the point, they would have put Sebastian in a foster home. That's the point it sounds like they were at. But see, that wouldn't have happened if they would have contacted Seth. Seth would have had him by now.
I find it awfully interesting that
contacted me and told me that, and I've been like, you need to have the sheriffs there by the time I get there, and I'll be there in an hour. Like, I might have cops following me because I'm going to hit the interstate, and I ain't doing less than 90 till I get there.
Well, yeah.
And I stop at 90 because there's a regulator on my truck.
Fun fact: that road he's talking about, going from Clarksville to Nashville, it's 24. 2 lanes, both sides. And then in the middle, in the median, is like it's grass or it's trees sometimes. But along the sides heading down to Nashville, because you have to go that way to go to Hendersonville, is rock. Like they literally blasted, like I call them mountains because I'm from the flat plains. but they blasted through these hills, mountains, whatever you wanna call them, to make the road and stuff, and, it's really cold during the winter because, like, when the water will freeze, it'll freeze off of it, and you can see the little spikes and stuff hanging off. It's so pretty during the winter, but it's dangerous because there's nowhere for you to pull off at either. There was one time my husband was in, Vanderbilt down in Nashville, and my father-in-law came down and he picked me and my son up, and we were heading down to Nashville, and we had to get into the left lane and go real slow because there was a car on fire, like, in the road, like, it ca they couldn't even pull off. There's no, like, brim, there's no, like, like, some highways or whatever, they'll have, like, an extra, like, 3 feet or whatever you can pull off into the stones. They don't got nothing like that on that road. So, that's dangerous driving that fast down that road.
How often do you reach out? Wait, maybe you can or cannot tell me. Maybe this is good. How often were you reaching out to law enforcement and them not returning your phone calls?
Multiple times a week.
Yeah. Okay.
My son's missing.
Yeah.
Every day.
Do you know how many times? Do you know how many times, if any? Well, never mind. You don't want to talk about that.
That's a good question. When exactly did he qualify for the Title 4E?
That's not released at the filing, so I can't state that date.
Yeah, it's not in the filing.
Jen over here trying to get me to go to jail. I don't look good in orange.
Help, there's crunch in my Skittles and I'm feeling deceived.
Or with silver bracelets.
What am I doing?
Got the wrong person for orange, honey.
I know. I walk in. I was into Jennifer Coffindaffer's. I walk in earlier, and all I hear is Seth saying, "What are you trying to do? Get me thrown in jail?" What's going on here?
I done told you, Betty, you don't look good in orange, and you don't look good in stripes either, honey.
No.
Stop it.
I'm too fat for stripes, thank you.
Stop, they'll be making memes. With the
Probably
little
will be.
hat stripe on top. Stop it.
Oh no, Smiley.
You look more like that beefy burger. Pay me today. Can I give you a hamburger tomorrow?
What bothers me is that, like the punch, the slap in the stomach, from wearing a belt, that right there too.
Well, we don't know if that no, you're crossing two things. We don't know what that was for. All we know is Chris told us on Smiley's Story World that he popped him on the buttocks with a belt over a belt, but we're finding out here that he ended up swatting him in the stomach, and we don't even know why he swatted him in the stomach. It didn't legend here what the swat was
he's
for.
supposed to. Well, it just says that you're supposed to be wearing a belt.
Oh, is that what it is? Is the belt part in here?
That's what's
okay.
weird.
Yeah, he got punished for not wearing a belt.
Well, so he did
he's
not
not wearing a belt.
Smiley.
But you're getting on to him for soiling himself, and he's losing. He can't do all that and try to go to the bathroom.
That's where the pull-ups come in, Jen. You're right.
Yeah,
So he was doing it because Sebastian was to wear a belt with the pull-ups. Now this is what's sick, is that he lied and he told the story the way he wanted to tell it, his own narrative. But the real narrative, the real story that I guess was when this all transpired, was that he was to wear the belt. When he lifted up, Sebastian lifted the shirt up, no belt, whack, got him.
I think that for me,
stomach.
I mean, this
I don't
is
know
just
anything
what's
about
recorded, what he has said, and what is here. There's no telling how many times that happened. I'm just, it's just so sad.
Well, it seems like he always seemed to have an answer. It seemed like he always had, and not only that, but this is what really surprises me, because we were all at the court. I don't know how many of you guys were with me. Jen, you might have been there. Seth, I think you were there when we left court one day, and we look out the window of the fifth.
Blah, 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 blah. All Betty does is fucking talk through this part.
The amendment. Rogers, the amendment.
Or not 20, yeah, 29, where it talks about
29 is
Tennessee.
above the first cause of action.
Yeah, and then so 29, if we could talk about 29 and then the first cause of action that 42
Well,
USC
you have to get this comprehensive
substantive due
Due
process.
process, yeah.
Yeah.
So Tennessee ranks 7th nationally in missing person cases with 991 active cases of as of mid 2025 and 924 unsolved cases in NamUs database as of January 2025. The SCSO failures are not isolated but reflected of a systematic deficiency in how Tennessee law enforcement handles missing person cases. I got to tell you, I've been screaming this since Summer Wells, since 2022. I've been saying that since that, absolutely. And then for everybody at home that wants to know what the first cause of action are, it's 42 USC section. It's a civil rights claim. A 1983 section, and it's substance due process, and it's 14th Amendment deliberate indifference and state created danger. This is, well, it's not too long, it's a few paragraphs. It says, okay, 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution provides that no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. In child welfare cases, the applicable standard for substantive due process liability under 42 USC section 1983 is deliberate indifference. That is whether the state actor knew of and disregarded a substantial risk of serious harm to the plaintiff, citing a case law, Patel versus Kent School District. Under the state-created danger doctrine, the state actor may be held liable under 1893 when the state's affirmative action created or increased the danger to the individual, and cited another case law, DeShaney versus Winnebago County Department of Social Services. Sebastian, as a missing child, was documented with documented disabilities and known history of abuse. And I like how they keep referencing this as known history of abuse, because that is what is proliferated through these reports. And this is what, again, he was about to be removed from the home over. And law enforcement was involved in this before.
I have a question. They keep bringing up Betty keeps bringing up he was on the verge of being removed from the home. And then they didn't contact Seth or anything. So were they not going to give him to Seth then? I mean, there's got to be something on both sides. We all know there's stuff on both sides.
Or he went missing.
Exactly.
So let's keep going in here. So the missing child was documented disabilities and known history, had a liberty interest in his personal security protected by the 14th Amendment. Rogers has a protected liberty interest in the care, custody, and companionship of his son. This claim is brought on behalf of Sebastian through his father and next friend of Rogers. The state-created danger doctrine requires the state's own affirmative conduct created or increase the plaintiff's exposure to danger, citing case law Kennedy versus Rich.
Oh, thank God. I don't know.
Chewy. I have some other questions.
Field City. Defendant in his thing, and he would be without any sleep, which was I think the way, I mean, even though his supervisor didn't describe him as, without sleep, they described an unusual behavior to the point that they've
this is when Betty went and stalked Chris Proudfoot's job in Memphis, Tennessee. Oh yeah.
Never kicked him off a job before, and they kicked him off that morning because of his behavior and how erratic he was acting. And I would say that does kind of bode with maybe.
I remember Betty being down there, and I never heard her say they kicked Chris off that job that morning because of how erratic he was acting. I've never heard that before. Has anybody else heard that before? Because I haven't.
no sleep.
But if that was true, Betty would have been all over that and screaming it to the mountaintops.
Does it not?
Yeah.
I'm grumpy if I don't have any sleep.
Right.
Burner
So
phone. I mean, he didn't even have to take his phone with him, but burner phones.
this is all theorization, which I know we're not really going to go down that rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, you know, because it is referenced here, his alibi, you know, we've questioned that alibi since the beginning, and we were told that we were wrong. And but I can tell you, when I went there, from my experience, and the people I spoke to, the gates are open. People are working at 5 a.m. on the job,
right?
But it's the people in.
I'm pretty sure, Betty, when you went at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, you said it was dark and nobody was there. I'm pretty sure.
Inside the building on the first level where all the lights are, it's dark out there. And so when I talk to some of the people, it's really the plumbers, the electricians, and stuff like that to the building that are getting there at that time of morning. It is not the crane workers. I was told the crane workers don't start showing up until about 6:30, 6:45, and they don't start work until 7. That's what I was told.
That's what I thought. Thank you, because.
But I didn't talk to his personal supervisor. But Silver is on the scene, says he spoke to his direct supervisor, and his direct supervisor concurred everything I said. So I don't know. That's all hyperbole. I mean, we don't have any factual information other than the people that we spoke to saying that. But again,
the law enforcement tendency, we have way too many cases that haven't been solved, and there's a reason for that. This is big.
Because like I said, it's their training. I've been saying.
On top of this, understand that I called to request the DCS records.
You can't do it.
All right.
If it's on
and then I'm told I need to have an attorney. And then my attorney gets them, requests them, gets them, and the caseworker is fired Friday. All in 1 week.
Wow. So you can't even speak to the caseworker.
The fact is, why'd she get fired?
Mm-hmm. Because she wasn't.
Coincidence, or I think it's just coincidence, because I'm sorry, Seth. They're not out to get you. There's so many other like parents that are worse than you are out there, and they still have their kids. They could get any one of them.
Doing her job well, or they found some discrepancy. And you know what? There's been a lot, like these people are just, I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but anyways, getting back to this, it says the failure to verify Proudfoot's alibi. That's huge. C is failure to investigate the non-functioning surveillance cameras. Guys, this is the first time in the history of this case that we finally have.
So the surveillance cameras at Chris and Katie's house were from the previous owner. If you have security cams, then you're going to know this. I have them. There's an app. Mine comes with an app. I have my own login information. Now, if I move and I leave them here, I need to leave login information for the next owner of my home. This is what happened with Chris and Katie, but they did not get the login information. So they are from the previous owner. The owner knows the login and stuff. Chris and Katie have no access to these cameras.
Some evidence that there were surveillance cameras at the house. Chris kept saying, remember, we kept saying, what is it with the cameras? Because he never really wanted to answer it. And when they did finally answer it, it was a really weird answer. And everybody kept speculating. So did they have cameras or did they not have cameras? And then somebody's like, oh yeah, well, they had a camera in the garage. Maybe it's the camera in the garage. And we're like, this really is what? So now they're talking about these cameras apparently were non-functioning surveillance cameras. So why didn't they go with the FBI, use them as a resource to do residual, which they could still do to this day, and hopefully pray to God we get a Nancy Guthrie out of this. So what did they ever take the cameras? Don't tell me they left these cameras in the house. I mean, that's a failure right there to not secure proper evidence.
As a Kroger pharmacist, caring for my patients is all that matters to me.
Doug Jr., you take it. Coach, you should run the Customize with Liberty Mutual and Save Hundreds play.
That's not a play.
Okay, you could save hundreds on car insurance play.
Also not a play. Center it!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
But this is the first time it says failure to investigate the non-functioning surveillance cameras. Like, I want to do dun 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 because this is the first time we heard there were surveillance cameras on the freaking ground. Dun 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 dun. Right? And then we got D.
Oh, who was it? Was it Cheesy Wheezy? I can't remember who it was. It was someone on Queen's panel. She brought up the point about because Katie did install, she worked for like ADT or something like that. One of them home security places. Mechanics' cars never run. Construction builders' houses are never finished because they do this shit all day and they don't want to come home and do that. So Katie installs this stuff. She don't want to come home and fucking do that. I mean, she probably would eventually will, but it's from the fucking previous owners.
The assignment of only one detective, the cessation of press conferences after March 2024, the failure to follow up on tips. Like, we heard there were thousands and thousands of tips that came in. What happened? Where did all those tips go? Who was searching on those tips?
This is why.
There's a recording of Craddock out there stating, all tips are welcome. But as soon as the 8 days are done, now it's only legitimate tips. Well, what's the difference? If you have no evidence on where my son is, then why in the hell aren't you going down every one of them?
Because, Seth, do you know how much money that costs to investigate one tip? And then they're going to start investigating thousands of tips? Open up your pocketbook, Seth. Pay them for their time.
How do you know? Yeah, it doesn't matter. A tip is a tip is a tip. And even TBI told me that. It doesn't matter. They have to, if a tip comes in, they're supposed to check every single one of them.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we're always very, very cautious to make sure our audience knows. Don't be calling tips in. If you are just saying, oh, this or oh, that.
Oh, this is coming from Betty, who says, see something, say something all the time. Okay.
Then, they've already got.
And if you don't really know Bullhorn Betty's background, there is a guy on here. Shout out to Blank Screen. If you know who Blank Screen is, you probably know what I'm about to say. He has his own channel. He goes live now. But before, he was the ultimate troll. I'm telling you, ultimate troll. He would troll the shit out of Betty. Betty hated it. Well, one night on her live, he went into her chat and was typing the word grifter into her chat, but he was doing it letter by letter by letter, sending it. And I think he only got to R. He didn't get very far into it. And she said she was calling the FBI. Can you imagine? She muted her mic. So who knows if she called her mom or her best friend? We don't know. But can you imagine taking that call and Betty being like, yeah, there's a guy on YouTube. His name's Blank Screen. A blank screen is typing grifter into my chat. Girl. So who wastes his money, Betty? You do.
That they don't need that. They need real evidentiary stuff. That means that you know somebody that knows something or you know something. Those are the types of leads they need. You know?
It does narrow over time too. You're right, Betty.
You're right.
Because I mean, if it's something they already know, and now we're 2.5 years in, what's going on here? I mean,
I do know that when my attorney sits there and states that there's no tip, he's talking about Sumner County didn't offer a tip, a reward, and he's comparing that to the fact that the FBI did offer a reward.
Right. Well, they didn't have a picture of your son behind them, nor did they stand with any part of the family or other members of law enforcement. Usually when you have a press conference and you have TBI involved and you have the FBI involved and all these other things, when you have the press conference, you usually have your kind of entourage of big wigs, top brass.
They held that press conference in their training academy area that has privacy chain link fence with barbed wire or razor wire on the top.
Somebody explain to me why that's bad. It doesn't matter where the press conference is held at as long as it's held. Be held in the fucking men's bathroom. Jesus.
Okay. And the only person that they allowed in there
is Nick Barris.
Was Nick. What's his last
Nick
name?
Barris.
And Barris.
That's a violation of constitutional laws too. You can't do that.
No, it's not. Because court, okay, judge, if a judge decides, okay, we're going to live stream this trial, but they're only going to allow one media in the room to record, that person is going to record it live, and it's going to go into what's called a pool. And then every media outlet pulls that one recording out of the pool so they can stream it on theirs. It's not a violation.
Press conference
because
media's
holding a press conference. I'm going to be there, and they told me I would not be allowed in for the press conference.
And normally,
that is just shit.
That is crazy.
Wow. And normally,
crazy.
Yeah, any other time, and it doesn't really matter what Seth or Katie's deal is or whatever. Normally, the cops would tell you, look, we're going to do a press conference. They would call each one and say, look, we need you as a mother and father here, and even the stepfather.
Yes, they do that. They have the mother and the father and the step-parents and any other children, if they choose to have the children up there. They'll do that with the parents. But that's when they are just at the point of they have nothing. Nothing. That's when they'll put them up there.
Whatever.
Obviously, they're still getting tips or something because, well, they don't have to put them up there. They don't have to do that. I've seen missing children cases where they never put the parents up there. It depends. It just all depends on like the county.
We just need the family here. We're going to do a press conference. Come stand here.
With Base 44, a simple sentence becomes your website.
They always want them to speak. Like every time you get a parent to speak, it's an opportunity for them to put their foot in their mouth or say something or leakage. Why wouldn't they invite?
She wants the parents up there so they can trip up. That's what she wants, so she has content.
They should have invited Seth. They should have invited Chris and Katie. They should have made all of them give an opportunity to say something so they get them on the record on that that microphone. Like this is so you know what? It's because it's exactly that. This is unprofessional.
You can see their face and see that they're looking for them, and if they ran away, it's a plea for them to.
Think about it.
We always see parents on press conferences.
We were
Not
searching,
all the time, you don't.
We were searching, and we had how many people out there? 50 freaking people out there searching for Sebastian, and there was only 2 people that got up and ran to a different state.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there was more than 50 people, and where Chris works in Memphis it's close to the I think it's Louisiana or whatever state's below there. It's close to it. It's like maybe 30, 45 minute, maybe an hour drive. He camps at that campsite in the other state because for one, it's cheaper. And he just wants to camp there. So what? That's where they went. Because of these people. Her. Stupid people like her. If they had people driving through the neighborhood late at night trying to recreate everything and running through the yards trying to recreate the infamous flashlight video, which I still think those are flashlights. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a fucking dump truck. Dump truck headlights do not go different ways. But it's because of people like her, the shit they were doing there. Yeah, I would wanna get away too.
Okay, let me get back to this because I keep going back to that because I have some pent up
Somebody's
emotion.
coffee is worn off and their ADHD is taken off, and the other three on the panel don't help.
I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back. Upon information and belief, so this is kind of, possible. Sumner County through SCSO maintains official policies and customs. This is where they're going after Craddock as being the. Wait, I think I missed some stuff. Hold on a second. Hold on. I think I jumped ahead. Hold on. I don't think I was done with my first cause of action. I was not done with my first cause of action. So it goes on to say 18 months communication blackout was GH's failure to deploy resources commensurate with the known risk factors. Defendants knew or should have known the extraordinary risk factors in the case through their participation with CPIT proceedings, the DCS records and circumstances of Sebastian's disappearance. Their failure to act with urgency in light of these known risks constitutes conduct that shocks the conscience. As a direct and proximate result of the defendant's deliberate indifference and affirmative acts create danger, Sebastian remains a highly at-risk missing youth. Last paragraph is plaintiffs are entitled to the compensatory damages. For continuing the deprivation of Sebastian's liberty and Roger's familial association, punitive damages against the individual, defendant's conduct evidencing reckless or callous indifference to federally protected rights, injunctive relief directing the SCSO to immediately reopen and actively prosecute the investigation with adequate resources, etc. So,
you like how she's emphasizing certain words? That's to induce hate and panic.
That's that title, that one that you wanted to read, the first cause of action.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the second one is this Monell's doctrine, which is against defendants Sumner County. And then, of course, the training of, Craddock being basically the guy that directs and trains and is responsible for his people, and he failed. And then it goes into the Tennessee victims' rights, which I think is important because a lot of people don't believe that Seth does have rights in the case, and he does.
Yeah, they think that just because the law enforcement has immunity, I mean, the attorneys went over that.
They don't have immunity. It depends. They have immunity. No, they don't have immunity. I don't know how much more I could sit through this shit. Oh my god.
And they don't have true immunity. They don't
That's
have
like
true.
2
Nobody
hours.
has real true immunity. If they're in the commission an act of criminal conduct or
It's
conduct.
qualified immunity, which means their immunity still has to be qualified for what they've done.
Right.
And if it doesn't pass qualification, you don't get immunity.
Right. So if you're in the commission of a crime,
Judges have absolute immunity. But again, if you can prove that they did something maliciously, they lose their.
Watch the FIFA World Cup 2026.
I have never been
live
so
on Fox
happier
with YouTube TV.
That they lose that immunity too. So any type of immunity, that word before it has to literally verify the action. And if it doesn't verify the action, it ain't there.
Yeah, your attorney knows what he's doing. That's why he went above the Tennessee law.
A good 6 to 8 months prior, I was reaching out to attorneys because, to me, my rights were being.
So I thought it was weird. He's talking about this attorney that he has right now that's going to take on this case. He said that the attorney heard about Sebastian's case and reached out to somebody that has Seth's cell phone number. and she gave it to him. I have a pretty good idea of who it was, but I'm not gonna say anything. Um, and the attorney contacted Seth and brought him in for a consultation, and the attorney says, "I'm gonna take this case." I've never in my life heard of attorney reaching out like that. I've heard of, like, the ambulance chasers and stuff. Like, you get into an accident, they're calling you, but I've never heard of attorney reaching out saying, "Yeah, you've got something to stand on here. Let's do this." I honestly think that this attorney is gonna take him for all the money that he can get. I bet you he will.
Violated on trying to find my son. And
time we turn around, it seems like the children children are getting gripped.
Letter stating why he wanted why Sonny wanted Eric credit, because that was his protege. He was the one that knew everything that was going on and was to take over. And I just
Okay, so this Sonny guy, he was the original, like, sheriff on scene for Sebastian. He died. So Eric Craddock was the next in line, and that's how Eric Craddock became, and the main sheriff.
wonder what information does he really know.
Absolutely.
About what's going on in Sumner County. And I'd like to point out that somebody said that this case would be in the books.
Remember in the beginning when I told you when Seth said, "Let's not talk about them, we're gonna keep it Sebastian," and I told you to hold on to that? Here it is.
Or something along those lines. And people will talk about this case for a long time. And you're damn right, you asshole.
Okay,
my son means something to me. And any real parent will tell you that their children mean something to them. And I will not shut my mouth until my son is home. And you can't shut it.
Okay, right. Well, we're not talking about...
He's talking about Chris, because Chris had said, I think it was on Queen Bee's panel. I can't remember whose panel it was on. But he had said something along the lines of, this case is going to be talked about for years.
Anybody outside, you made it very specific, and even though I went over the lines, doesn't mean you can go over the lines.
I can have my...
No, you cannot. You cannot. You told me if it's not in here, we cannot talk about it. And
it was
I
your
don't
rule,
remember. I read over this. I didn't hear those comments in the paperwork. You're not allowed to comment on it. You made it very clear.
Betty, you can hear comments in paperwork? Huh. You must got some type of superpower, girl.
Okay, I violated the rules, kind of, sort of, because we went on a tangent based upon something we read in the document.
He's going on another one.
Well, I can talk your ear off if you want to go on a tangent like that again. And I've got buttons. And I got buttons. Don't forget, I got buttons.
Hold on.
Yeah, it was your role
for this attorney to stick his neck out for this case. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's a godsend.
I don't care what the naysayers say. They're not freaking attorneys. They're fucking felons. Excuse my language. Sorry. Okay. Okay. I did it myself. Okay. I don't even want to hear it from anybody. All right. I did it.
We don't care. This is not about you, Betty.
Down to social media, you guys kind of stuck with me.
Yeah.
Nobody can
attorney-client privilege.
My son.
Yeah.
The attorney's not.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think you're in good hands with him. He seems very knowledgeable. I personally think the complaint is well written. You know, I think he did a very, very good job. I think he did a very good job. I think if there wasn't something here, this is not, they don't just gamble. They don't say, ooh, I wonder if this is going to work. No, they evaluate a case and find out its, survivability of certain claims, and they look at both sides of the argument. If you are a good attorney, you look at the positive and the negative side of your case before you ever get into it. And there's plenty of case law in both sides, and you review it, and you basically try the case in
Chewy has everything for every animal. From fish treats and dairy.
They want to eat for
You know, I don't know how to explain it. Before you ever take a contingency case, you're going to be looking at that case to find out if there's a path forward. And an attorney's not going to take on financial responsibility for a case that doesn't have meat to the bone. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Did we get 1,000 thumbs up?
Oh, very good.
Yay.
I'm very happy with that.
Let's get 1,000 more.
Amen. But this is kind of where my time comes to an end. So I sleep
turning into a pumpkin.
I do turn into
10 o'clock. I mean,
Seth, did he tell you? I mean, you. I'm sure you can say this. Did he tell you, like, when you were talking to him, what you can expect as far as two things I want to ask? Does he expect either one of these places to countersue? And did he say this could take years, which we know with the government
through
and
this
things.
crap. I'm tired of hearing it.
because they are busy
done
doing
with this
things
with
that they need to do.
Their job, right?
They're not gonna
Amen.
Now they're speaking from factual information and knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's not attorneys that literally have YouTube channels, because I know there are, but they market that.
Right. That's
Okay.
part. That's what I was just
No,
saying.
we're not
That's
about
part of their.
their YouTube.
But
It
at the
is.
same point in time, there's other states that are probably the same way. I mean, I
Well,
lived in
you know what? I disagree. You know what? In all fairness, Seth, I disagree
lived
with
in California before I moved here, and
But California is more populated, though. You have your problems, but per capita, it's still less than Tennessee.
500 kids a month? I mean, come on.
Tennessee is worse than the state of Florida, and we have double the population here. And they're 5 times worse than Florida. And we have we have 27, 28 million people in the state of Florida. I think Tennessee has 11.
Okay, Tennessee sees 500 to 600 children reported missing every month. While the vast majority are safely located within days, authorities typically track an estimated 70 to over 100 active open cases across the state at any given time. Most disappearances are runaways or family abductions. I wonder if there's any. There's not. I was going to see if there's like a percentage or something.
It's getting worse every day, every month.
Real quick, my state has over 1,000 kids go missing every month. I can see why. We're literally the crossroads of America. So
I don't miss it. I wouldn't go back there for nothing. It's crazy. Not to raise kids.
Now, before California, we lived. Me and Sebastian were in Kansas.
I went to
all right.
My feet up in
And we moved to Kansas.
I'm sorry. I think of Wizard of Oz. That's not funny. I know. I'm sorry. So it's late. I'm getting delusional.
That's what I was thinking, Betty.
You hear me? You
Yes.
hear me, Betty? Click your heels together 3 times.
I don't have
Where's the
red shoes.
But before that, we were in Georgia.
For the services that are needed, there's always somebody taking more than they should be taking. So would federal, it's not that you want federal oversight, because it's more bureaucracy, more taxes, more everything. But at the end of the day, what do? You damned if you do, you damned if you don't. We can't keep going down this avenue, because situations like Seth's in, where the sheriff doesn't really care for this case and is not doing what they need to be doing right by the victim. What do you do? Who do you go to for help right now in this situation? There's no place for Seth to go.
Washington.
There's no place for him to go to complain or to have somebody take a second look. There's no process for that. There's none of these processes.
Exactly.
It's like it all stops and ends with that county, no matter how wrong that county is.
Beat my head on the table.
How do you fix something like that?
God.
And this is not just in this state. This is everywhere.
And to turn down resources
Can you
and
pull up
help.
Ash Mangy's comment?
What is it?
Can you pull up Ash Mangy? She says there was absolutely negligence in this investigation that is covered under the Tennessee tort law, that they should not have immunity for negligence.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
exactly what the documents state.
Yeah, and that might be where they're
Yeah.
going with that.
There you go.
That's right. That's
All
exactly
right,
right.
guys. Well, I gotta go. I'm drinking coffee, but it's not helping. After 10 o'clock, it's not helping. I don't know how the hell I managed to pull it off till 11. I did like 3 nights from 9 to 11. I don't know how, or 9. Actually, I did the first night 9 to 11. I realized I couldn't do that again, so I did only 1 hour segments from 9 to 10. But now I'm past 10, and I'm like, it's just like a light switch. It's like it just turns off, and I can just feel myself go down. It's like I'm going down, folks. So I gotta go to bed.
There we go.
I'm addressing this comment. I didn't mean any disrespect by that comment. I hope you didn't take any.
Coming from the guy who, when he first got on here, made a dick joke to Betty. Yeah, let's joke about body parts while my son or your son's missing.
I think the point is that it's hard to explain to other people when they don't understand. So you might give an analogy, like as in, yeah, that's the way I took it anyway.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
So-
I mean,
You were just making a point that Down syndrome had an extra chromosome, and yours is missing a chromosome. You were just making a statement. So if somebody got butthurt over that, well, that's a them problem, not a you problem.
God, this is about over with.
Welcome this to Sports Center. Nice to see you. Hope you enjoy your new home, your new destination. It'll be great.
No, here it is. She said, I know. It's just crazy to think that.
Oh, okay, that's what she was saying. I was going to say, I didn't think she was saying.
Oh my God.
At that point in time, to get an attorney and to put down the deposit that she requested,
Yep.
I would have never been able to do that.
Oh my goodness.
But I just want to point that out because that's what he's going through is going on throughout this country. And think about this. We've heard of horrible allegations of saying, let's talk about Raffic, right? With a T, right?
Yep.
Of children through the system. Mm-hmm. And how are we going to bring transparency to that, to say yay or nay? Who is really looking into that? And do we really trust the reporting of that when we can't verify the information? We're hearing of all these terrible stories going on with people inside the system. And when we go to try to look to inform us, to expose anything that could be harming children that are already understood, just a little bit of that pain, maybe they wouldn't be so nasty. I'm
going to stop. I can't take it anymore. We're pretty much done anyway. God, that was so hard to sit through. I am so antsy right now. My son and my stepson have the dog on the bed and they're teasing him. All right, I'm going to get off here because I can't